This is recorded conversation number 2. This one is with Reid, who is an owner, operator of Mystic Glass Creations. They make glass pennants, ornaments, jewelry, pretty neat stuff. Kim and I are going to work on something in the near future, just still discussing what that exactly is going to look like. But we sat down at a restaurant in where were we? Souk? No. Where did we go? It was by the ferry in Victoria Island, Vancouver Island. Man, this is just bad. I don't know what the places are called where I live. Vancouver Island by the ferry. It's called. They shot a TV show called Grace Point there. Sandy? No. I should look it up. Anyway, whatever. It's this small place. It's right by where the ferry is. When you take the ferry from the mainland and by Vancouver over to Vancouver Island. It's a place just outside of Victoria. Sandy? No, that's not what the place is called. Anyway, we sat down and there was in the background you'll hear a bunch of noise, which is a bunch of old people, but there was also a guitar player and a woman singing. It looked like, it reminded me of like a cross between every wedding reception I've been to and Twin Peaks. So it was a really kind of neat atmosphere full of old people, wherein we're not young ourselves, but we were the youngest people in that place. Yeah, sorry again, I don't know. I'm going to have to find another way to record these because it's noisy again. And yeah, I have another one coming up this weekend, and then another one set up for the week after that. So I'll try not to put it in a noisy place. But we'll see. There's something to it, though, with there's this other element of comfortability when you're actually sitting and talking with somebody in an uncomfortable environment, such as a restaurant or a pub or a coffee shop or what have you. Okay, I've rambled too long. This is our conversation. So how did you start glass blowing?
We had some friends who were living in Jasper, Tyler and I, in the early, 99, 2000. And that's when the glass pipes were starting. And we met a guy on Vancouver Island, Chris Windsor, Fatty Glassworks, and he was selling glass pipes. We started buying them from him and reselling them. And I came out west after going to art school for a year and a half.
Where'd you go?
To NASCAD University in Halifax, Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. And just wasn't very focused, and I was spending a lot of money to draw and paint. So I was like, wow, this is getting expensive. I would not have come out with a degree to actually get me a job. I wasn't that focused. Focus has been a huge part of my life.
But does anybody go into art school to come out with a job? I think people still go to school.
I would say maybe graphic design or something, right?
Yeah, maybe architecture, that type of thing.
Animation, film. So yeah.
No, not film.
No?
No.
I
You don't go to school for that
living
type
in
of
the-
stuff.
Yeah, living in the East Coast when I live in Halifax, it's very secluded. You're surrounded by water. You might as well be an island. It's very localized. I just kind of wanted to leave. My friends were out in Jasper, so I was like, why don't I go to Jasper? Visit my friends. Just
Yeah.
where I met my business partner. And then through our travels, met these glass blowers, a bit more of a hippie back in my younger days.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hippies in Jasper at that time. Or as I now call them, the righteous Quebecers that were actually brought up middle class and acted poor.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just decided. Tyler always really liked glass too. He was interested in it. He was a forestry student before that. And just moved out here on a whim, tried to get Chris to teach us, but he wasn't interested. It wasn't like it is now with internet and accessibility. There wasn't a lot of colored glass being made. The industry was just a baby. It was in infancy, right, when we started. There wasn't a lot of knowledge about it. And we met another guy, Sebastian Latour, who runs Ivory Island Glass. He's in Kelowna now. And got some lessons, apprenticed with him for a little while, and then just set up a shop. And Tyler and I just started creating, working. We've been doing it probably since 2003. So it's just been a learning process the entire time, from the ventilation to the techniques, taking classes. Definitely not quite as much collaboration, I don't think, as there is in the States and Canada.
Just more competitive here?
No, people are more spread out, I think.
Oh, okay.
Just a lot of the colored glass is made in the States as well. Down in Portland, almost all the colored glass comes out of Portland. And yeah, so I guess when we were younger, we started making pipes. We thought we were going to be pipe makers, which, I mean, there's an amazing industry now, and they wouldn't have made the glass if it wasn't for these pipe makers. So,
like the material, the raw material of it.
The movie Degenerate Art is by Marble Slinger. He's got a brother that's Paco. That's a good like a really cool glass blower too. I think they're out of like New York, Long Island or something. But he made this documentary, and it talked about how the pipes were on fish tour, like the heady pipes. That's where the term heady came from, was from the fish.
Head shop.
I think maybe something to do with the deadheads, because the deadheads, right? Went to,
and then that's
were
where
fish
head
fans,
shop.
right? And then people were making these like little pipes, these glass artists, and they were able to sell them and be able to reinvest in more supplies and in making their shops bigger. And so, because I could never figure out why people now make like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 pipes. It's like, why would you just make art?
Yeah.
I always thought it was more of a like FU counterculture, right? Because marijuana is illegal and the whole prohibition is, there's no basis of why they do that. Why is one thing legal and why are other things not? Anyway,
it's all illegal, but you're still making these like big, expensive, elaborate.
So that's why I thought, but it was more that by them making these small pipes that were usable, people bought them and they grew as artists because they could actually sell what they were making. So it's more about that they've had followers that have bought their stuff for over a decade, and it's also paying homage to the fact that they would never have been able to grow because art doesn't sell as well as something that's actually usable.
Yeah.
So I think it's a kind of neat evolution of the whole glass industry. I tell people about it all the time that see our jewelry, that we wouldn't have this industry without people that make pipes. It's part of the marijuana industry, right? And it exploded in North America. It's definitely a North American art form.
Do people still use those pipes though? Like, I barely see people on the street now with those little glass pipes.
Yeah, there's still, I would say, a fair amount of pipe shops.
No, you see them, but I've never like actually. Everyone just walks around with the joint or whatever because you smell it everywhere in Vancouver, but nobody. Because I remember back in high school,
those were like the shit, and you were like, you always wanted to buy the like nicest one with the nicest swirl in it.
Right.
And some people would go crazy and get like a big, huge one, but they couldn't use it because they were...
Yeah, so with the evolution of the glasswork, there's a lot more people doing it than there was back then, so it's probably just not quite as special as it was at the beginning because it was in its infancy and there was less people doing it, so there's a lot less out there. I can't believe the amount of glassblowers in the States. It's pretty amazing, and they're talented people. So when Tyler and I got into the shop, we made pipes and stuff for a while, but we wanted something that we could really, we started thinking about the jewelry because nobody else was really doing it. Everybody was doing pipes, and it took less material, and it's something that we could also show our parents because as much as we would like the marijuana industry to not have so much stigma around it, it does, and marijuana is a drug. It should be done in moderation, right? Kids shouldn't be smoking it, I believe in all that stuff. So it's just a way for us to distinguish ourselves and make a career as well, being able to like go to the farmer's market and sell and not have to deal with the stigma that was associated with the pipes.
That's cool. But you do like other stuff on the side. That's not for the last 13 years? That hasn't been like your main job.
Yes,
is
it has.
Mystic. Really?
Yeah.
You made the plunge like 13 years ago?
Yeah, self-employed. I've worked a couple jobs.
Did you just one day were like, I'm jumping in full bore, or you just like
Actually,
one day realized, hey, I'm already into this?
When I came to the island, I just decided I was going to find money to help pay me to learn how to be a glassblower, and had never drawn unemployment ever in my life, but because we had moved from Alberta, we had enough hours, so Tyler and I both applied for unemployment, and then I realized in British Columbia that there was self-employment grants that were available.
No.
Yeah.
What?
So, and again, right, if doing jewelry was different, like we were just creating a product line, we're just figuring out stuff, and we were like learning how to be business people all at the same time. So I did a 3-week self-employment course, started working on a business plan, and then got expedited into this course where it just was an extension of unemployment. And they taught us a few business skills and gave us some money and had us on the back.
Did you already have to be on EI to qualify?
Yeah, it's definitely
You had to be accepted for EI first.
Yeah, it's all about trying to retrain people, and right, it's all part of the employment insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I went wrong, because I sat on EI for I don't know how many years.
So,
but I would always use it as a supplement between gigs, because I was
there probably
working
is
enough.
actually even grants out there for you right now as a self-employed artist. Like in BC, I'm part of a grant program that they pay 2/3 for business training. So I'm taking an online business program where it's a structured program on organization in business, and I'm taking a bookkeeping one as well.
Yeah.
So I'll get up to $10,000 in return for myself or employees for training for business, and it's been
Out
very
of
beneficial.
something you're doing online already, just like this course that you signed up for.
Yeah, it's just I'm really I kind of search out stuff like that as well, right? I just kind of curious. This one we lucked upon.
Like trying to get
somebody
the grants
walked by us at a market and was like, "Here," gave us a pamphlet to tell us about it. So yeah, kind of neat. I can honestly say that for the 10 years of the business running, we did not understand our books. We had a bookkeeper that never asked us any questions. We didn't know how to run a business, and taking bookkeeping starting last year has been really good on the business side of things, having a very clear picture, because the way that he was doing the books didn't work for us as a small company. It wasn't readable.
Yeah. So you're incorporated then?
No, it's a self-proprietor partnership.
So then when you do your income tax,
It's weird because
Are you as a
it's a partnership.
business?
Yeah. Business registration. That's one of the things that was cool about getting the grant is that we actually we were not forced, but we were guided into having a legitimate business. We got like a tax number and a business number very early on, and have always
as like the two of you.
yeah.
Oh,
I was
okay.
Mystic Glass Creations.
Right.
And yeah, it was really good advice because a lot of people wait, they do it later, and then they owe taxes in the back.
I'm not incorporated.
It's weird though, right? Once you know about taxes and stuff, like if you barter with somebody, you're actually supposed to somehow pay on even barter to the government and their taxes.
How are they going to prove that?
Well, they want us to be honest.
Yeah.
Which of course
So
we
if
are.
you go, but then if you go next door and like, can I borrow or can I have a cup of peanuts, and then you give them like a cup of seeds. They're like, oh, we need like 50% of your, or 20%
I'm pretty sure
of
the
your
government
seeds.
wouldn't even know how to enforce it. But I did hear that before, that you are supposed to somehow keep track if you're when it's business, right? Business stuff, I think.
Yeah. But say your seeds were your business and you traded them for a cup of almonds. So then the government needs 10%, 15% of your almonds and seeds.
I assume so. We're getting into a line of abstract almost.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. I've always held off on like incorporating because it's just so
You would
scary.
probably,
Because I like.
Are you under self-proprietor?
I don't know. I just have all my T4s come in because there's a lot of companies that hire me as an employee for a certain amount of time, and there's other companies that, so it's like both are hiring me as two separate things, so I'm getting income tax taken off every time. With certain people, other people, nothing.
So there's benefits of like different types of ways that you file your taxes. Typically, if it's incorporated, you don't have the same write-offs if you work out of your home. That's why a lot of people do the self-proprietor, because you can write off percentages of hydro, phones, all that kind of stuff. When you're incorporated, when you're incorporated, it's a whole different system of write-offs and stuff. So that's the main difference to all of them. It's interesting. You could have somebody talk to somebody, they could probably go over them and they would tell you if it was beneficial.
Yeah.
The thing about being incorporated is if something happens and you get sued, they're not allowed to go after your personal assets, where if you're sole proprietor, they could go after your personal assets. When you're incorporated, they're only allowed to go after the business. That's why people are incorporated.
Oh, okay.
They can't go after personal assets.
Yeah, because
I think that's the main thing.
Corporation is is treated as if it's a person. Right?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Lawyers screwing up the world for the entire existence on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty convinced that lawyers are the devil walking around. I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but I think that law is really fucked over society.
It's just putting other things onto other things, really, like attaching.
Because once a law is made and it's set, it's really hard to undo it, right? So it works with a lot of politics and stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
Grab your phone there. It's a lot of things. Yeah, people have tried to convince me to do it, but it's like, I don't know what I'm afraid of not to incorporate, but to,
I'd see if it's beneficial
yeah.
before I would.
Because another person told me that to incorporate, you should be making like 6 figures. Your business should be making 6 figures, and then you should incorporate because it's like, it makes more sense. But if you're under that, it's no point.
Oh, the lettuce wraps are done for us. That's cool. Fancy.
Yeah, this isn't no white spot lettuce wraps.
Just love lettuce wraps. It's such a cool concept.
I did it at A&W when they started doing the all-day breakfast. Because I'll go to A&W for the only purpose of like having eggs and bacon with a side of sausage. And it's like their eggs are really good. Like they have the dark yolk, like the good free-range like yolks.
You know what I heard about that?
No, they're coloring them.
No, but if you feed them something that's like corn, that's more yellow, then it's going to change the color of the yolk. Because I always thought that too.
Yeah.
There's these wicked heritage eggs though that are blue, and I just like I love it. These like heritage.
The yolks
chickens.
are blue.
The shells are blue.
Oh, okay, I've seen those.
I don't know. I'm like, I want blue eggs. It makes me want to eat blue eggs. I remember watching Little House on the Prairie
Yeah.
when I was a kid, and they paid them less for the brown eggs, but they retailed them for the same as the white eggs. And the like family was like, they were pissed off about it. I don't know why that's in my head. My memories are odd, right?
I've never thought of Little House on the Prairie or Michael Landon. What was the other Michael Landon TV show?
Oh, something about
He was an
Counting.
angel.
Yeah. And I haven't thought about him in a long time either.
He was a rock star back in the day. He was like the guy everyone looked up to. Maybe that's why I have long hair, because of Michael Landon. I don't know.
Well, just because you can.
I've had long hair since like grade 11.
It's funny, my neighbor has long hair, and his wife's always like, looks like a bum. Cut that hair. I'm like, I like it. Leave him alone. I don't have long hair.
Yeah. It's just easier to deal with.
There's peppers in there. And they're calamari. So what got you into film and photography?
Maybe that's why I was just all day just like very low energy, because when I was on the ferry today I was writing, I've been writing this letter slowly on my phone through my notes to my grade 6 teacher, because I found him on Facebook.
He's the one that influenced you?
Yeah.
That's wicked. That's wicked.
But he did it in a very indirect way. It was like his art class, when he would teach art, it was not standardized. It was based on if you liked what you were doing. It was basically based on your creativity or something. I don't know. I don't know. He gave me straight A's though, so it made me think I was good at something. Because after that year, all the rest of my teachers, I got C's in art. And I was trying to figure out why, and apparently it was because they saw what I was doing with the art assignments, what I was doing with it, they saw it as I wasn't paying attention or I didn't get the assignment. But what he saw was like I would take the assignment and I would turn it on its head and do something completely like
Your own.
yeah, like in that so within whatever the assignment was, but make something like totally weird.
So when I went to art school,
Yeah.
I've always really liked music. I've always gone to shows, like probably from about grade 11 on.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting this guy that I was dating for a little while, Jason Roberts. He's a cook now. And he went to art school.
What did you say?
Jason Roberts, he's a cook.
Oh, I thought you said he's on coke now.
No, he's a cook.
Yeah.
Cooks Cape Breton. But I met all of his friends and I realized I spent a lot of time at places where there were a lot of artists.
Yeah.
And then I just was so cocky, so young. I dropped out of university. I went to Dalhousie for a while, and I just was like, not
I know
interested.
a few people that went there.
Just wasn't interested. I didn't know what I was going to do, and luckily I had this amazing philosophy, or I was going to go into psychology, and it was the 2000s.
Yeah.
It was like psychology 2000, so everybody in there was going to be competition. And then I thought about the fact that there was 2 other universities just in Halifax alone. And I didn't really, my heart wasn't in it.
Yeah.
But he had this whole talk about you don't have to go to university to have a career. You can go into the trades. You can do so many things. I don't know why he told us this, but I'm so grateful to him. Because like 2 months into that year, I was, or like, whenever I could get like partial money back, I quit like.
Did you say that directly to you, or was it like to the whole class?
Yeah, to the whole class. He just like had this big speech about he knows lots of people, go home, good career, make good money, didn't go to university, because that was that time where it was just like pushed down your throat. Not that my mom did that. My mom was just like, when I applied to art school, she's like, why'd you start drawing all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, Mom, I'm applying to art college. She's sweet though. And I was like, I ended up meeting this guy, and then I just decided I was going to apply to art school. And I'm pretty sure partly why I got in was because I'd already been in university.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to a few people when I lived in Halifax that didn't get accepted, and I was like, well, you're allowed to just take courses. I'm like, you take some courses and reapply, and they'll see that you've already been at the school.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to accept you. It's like, you can still get around it. You can still take the classes. But definitely the best time of my life. And I didn't draw, I didn't paint, I didn't really do anything arty. I just bought this book, Drawing on the Right Side of Your Brain, and I started teaching myself how to draw, and I just was being creative, and right? Just a trippy experience to just, I moved home so I didn't have to pay rent, and I could work on a portfolio for like 9 months, and like, was accepted on my first try. Like, it seems ridiculous, but they must have, right? Like, if they would have known that, I would have been like, yeah, so like 9 months ago I didn't do anything, and I just decided to teach myself how to draw. And such an amazing time, like I really loved. Like if I could go to art school for the rest of my life, I would. Just love the culture, love the creativity, love the teachers, love my peers. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never did any post-secondary. Just because, like, my parents didn't want to pay for it. Because they were like, I sucked at school and I didn't like school.
Well,
but they're like, yeah, you're not going.
Like, once I went to art school, I actually felt like it just felt easy. Felt like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Or I didn't care about school, except I liked biology.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't want to do anything with biology until now. And then I realized with permaculture, it's exactly why my love of biology is totally permaculture, nature.
Yeah, there's so much of those like classes now that I wish I would have paid attention to a bit more, like, because there's so much stuff I'm into now that I had the perfect opportunity back in the day to like learn more about like even physics and like learning French, because I'm slowly trying to teach myself French, and it's like I had the opportunity to like learn like basic high school French.
I know our French was terrible.
And But instead of French, I took home ec, so I learned how to make pancakes instead of speak another language.
I took French forever. I eventually, I thought I had it on here. There's like a thing to teach you.
Yeah, Duolingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got. But it's so hard because even like work. Yeah, get in there. Even working at CBC, like in half the time I'm working with French people, I feel so left out when I'm not understanding what I'm filming and editing a story as well later that's all in French.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
So I mean, I can get away with the Duolingo. I'm to a point where I can read a bit, but conversational stuff, it's like I have no idea what they're saying because you're listening to with that app. You're listening to like a robot voice saying it in such a way that so you can understand.
Try headphones. That doesn't make any sense. Because I found like I was.
Yeah, but I listen to it like that. But then you listen to two people have a conversation, and it's like the sounds that they're making don't match up. Like I can pick out certain little things, but the sounds they're making don't match up with what I'm hearing on the app.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can't follow it as easy. But eventually.
I definitely feel like in school, they should be teaching kids how to meditate and garden and exercise daily and
learn money stuff.
Yep, bookkeeping. But they don't want people to know about money because then people would be like, not into it.
Yeah. It's.
I like the name, Music Trap.
It's almost like Twin Peaks. I feel like I'm in Twin Peaks right now.
I've never watched Twin Peaks.
You never watched it?
No, I feel like it's something I need to do.
Oh, dude. I never did when it was on, but now that it's coming back, and like I became like a huge David Lynch fan with like Lost Highway.
Yep.
And then everyone kept saying Twin Peaks, but now that the new one's coming out, I like. Yeah, so I've been going back and like watching, because I watched the movie and the first few episodes, but now I'm like going all the way through it, and it's really good actually. It's like there's a lot of storytelling techniques that are used now, and like
Right.
I assume Game of Thrones. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I'm assuming. I don't know, just a lot of like things that happen that wanted to make you watch the next episode because it's so intense. And it's a lot of weird things that they do that you see now in like a lot of these series that a lot of people watch, and Breaking Bad and Mad Men, like all that stuff that people go crazy for.
Actually, when I was talking about what they should learn in school, I totally forgot. I was like, there's another one, obviously French, because that's what we were talking about. I mean, why wouldn't they teach everybody? It's crazy. My business partner grew up in Moncton, and he lives next to Dieppe, which is totally bilingual.
Yeah.
And like he's not bilingual, but he grew up in a community where part of the community is bilingual. Why would the whole community? When we're kids, like your brain is like a little sponge. You can learn a second language so quickly. Definitely opens up a lot of opportunities in life. like park stops and stuff, like usually have to be
Yeah.
bilingual.
Even just your way of thinking has changed.
Right.
Like you,
Probably helps your brain.
yeah.
Healthier. I think music does that to people too. Helps your brain. Dancing is another one. There's a lot of memory in dancing.
Oh yeah.
I guess it comes down to using it.
I don't dance. I don't know. I don't even really enjoy it. It's not that I really can't. I could learn. But if it had a purpose or a sport to it, other than let's move to like random movements to sound, like I'll bob or whatever. But
I think I've taken an African dance class.
yeah.
And I always like dancing, probably because I like music, and I kind of realized I'm kind of not a musician. It's like, I feel like I'm playing music with my feet, like I feel like I'm playing a drum
Oh yeah.
with my body. One of the reasons that I like it.
Makes sense. I always wanted to try ballroom or to learn it, but that was at a time where I was like hardcore into kickboxing, so I wanted to take ballroom to help my footwork. Even though in the style of kickboxing I was taking, there's not a lot of footwork. It's just you standing in front of another guy and you guys punch and kick each other. But I thought if I took ballroom, I could like create another level of dexterity to like not get hit or hit somebody a certain way. But yeah, that didn't end up happening.
I think I'm an over romantic. I always we went to the Legion once in suit, and there's just like couple dancing. We've all been dancing together for like ever, and I just like melted. It's like they're so cute.
Yeah. I guess when I see myself moving that way, I just picture like that awkward uncle at a wedding and like the bad tie and white shirt, bad pants. And just trying to be hip and
I think dancing is for me. It's an expression, and it just makes me feel good. And even if I look retarded, which I don't think I do, but even if I look retarded, who cares? It makes you feel good. Just like a celebration.
yeah.
Cardio. So I've learned how to I guess take away that
Self-consciousness of it.
alcohol helps too.
Yeah.
Couple drinks. But yeah, I've gone to enough music festivals where I'm even in my hometown, I'm just fuck it. And that's why I like Deadheads and stuff too. They're always dancing and moving, and it's part of it. Right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
But that's rock music too, so it's kind of like it's a different thing.
I like rock. I like a lot of.
It's like you do a little weaving and a little bobbing, and that's fine. You don't need like dance music where everyone is doing these elaborate moves and stuff. You know what I mean?
Probably depending on personality.
Yeah. You want to go rap or cake?
No, they're both okay. I wouldn't say I would give them either one of them. Which one do you like better?
Yeah. The rap?
Yeah, go for it.
But that was good with the sauce.
You can choose whichever one you like.
You go halfers.
I'm actually getting full, which is ridiculous because I was really hungry.
Yeah.
You can have whichever one you like.
We get them. You can take them home. Feed them to your
Or I won't really eat them. I really respect food.
Huh?
I really respect food. I don't think it's a good idea to waste so much water.
No, but you take them back.
Oh, it's my roommate's.
Yeah.
You don't want any more? If you're hungry, just go for it.
But if there's anything left, you can take it back to them.
Yeah, it's definitely something my mom maybe it's still, but like beyond that, I'm like just respecting like all the work and all the energy. I love that Louis C.K. thing where it's like God comes back. Have you seen that? And he's like,
I probably did, but remind me.
the best is there's this line where they're like, oh, I gotta work. They're like, he's like, make money. And he's like, for what? He's like, good, buy stuff. And they're like, eat. And he's like talking from God's perspective. And he's like, just eat the shit on the ground. It's all over the place. Just pick it. It's so funny. There's a really cool little cartoon version of it.
Yeah.
I like animation.
I have to watch it.
Yeah, it's like Louis, and then it's like God. It's really good. They're like, it's like
No, but I gotta pay for my house.
yeah, oil.
Oil? What's oil? All dinosaurs are
Why did you
dead.
take it out of the ground? From work. It's like for like video games. I think at the end the guy was like, Louis like, oh, but it's not bacon. I'm a very big fan of Louis C.K. I've liked him for a long time. I'm a comedy follower as well.
He's super good.
There's a couple Dave Chappelle that just got released on Netflix. They're pretty good too.
Oh, dude. I was like, I don't like specials very much because they don't
He did pretty good.
relate very well, or like, I don't know what to, like, they don't translate very well. But that one was like, I was in my apartment by myself and I was actually laughing, like, making noises and stuff.
The Care Bear apartment is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
It's so good. Although, again, I'm a pretty big Dave Chappelle fan from when he had his TV show.
Oh, of course.
If there are some keys to life, that's another one. I believe very fully we can't take things so seriously. When we smile and we laugh, it's really healthy. And
Yeah.
they've said that like if you're negative all the time, it will create neural pathways to where you're not even conscious of it directing you towards the negativity after a while.
Yeah.
But
That's the same thing as we were talking about the synapses, like the old folks home thing.
yeah. I have a friend that's like kind of negative, and there's this song by LCD Sound System. It's like New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down. And now when Graham does that, I'm always like, oh, Graham, you're bumming me out. You're bringing me down. And he's negative, and then he stops. Sometimes you just have to, right? And be like, nah.
I've had to ditch friends because they were too much like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like too much like complaining, and I was just like, guys.
It's a very low vibration.
And it wasn't like a conscious effort by my part. I feel like that I just stopped hanging out with them because I was being repelled.
Yeah, I think when you're around a lower vibration, it's hard to, because you're not on the same frequency, like you do just drift over time. It's not a conscious thing. And they say to surround yourself with people with higher vibrations so that you can raise yours. You don't want to like lower it. It's important.
That's why I like, another reason why I decided I wanted to start like recording these types of things, because I have these conversations like all the time.
I feel like I do too.
We should just record them, because it's like whatever, because it's not going anywhere. It's not doing anything by just talking about it. But then if you record it, then it becomes something, and then maybe like other people listen to it.
And become enlightened.
But it also, what I found after, I only done one before, like we're actually recording it, it makes you a little extra aware of what you're doing.
Saying.
Hmm?
And saying.
A little bit, yeah. But you're more aware of the conversation a bit. And so it becomes a little bit of a performance.
Right. I actually read this book about relationships, and it had all this advice. It was like about things that people often commonly do in relationships. Mm-hmm. I'll show you. I ended up keeping like the end of it. That was a different book, but it's pretty cool either way. But this book actually, after the 50 or 52 things that typically are not healthy, it talked about like recording yourself when you get into a fight, and then if you can forget that you're being recorded, to listen back to it, and then all of a sudden you'll be so like, you'll be able to hear your tone and the shitty things you've said because you're not remembering in that heated moment that you've just been so disrespectful to the person that you're supposed to love. And you're abusive. But a lot of it is like, it's tone, and how when we get angry and stuff, people often, they have that harsher voices get raised.
Because you're not listening to me, so I need to raise my voice so you can hear me better.
Yeah,
but it's not what I'm, because you're not understanding what I'm saying, so it's like...
Body language is, they've proven that you can get more from body language than actually from a conversation, because of our lack of understanding from our perspective to everybody else's perspective.
But your instinct is to go with, from like, to communicate with the mouth.
Interpretation. Yeah.
So then,
that's why I like music too. It's kind of like my poetry. I do listen to the lyrics a lot. It's it's interesting.
I stopped with lyrics a long time ago because I realized they're all meaningless. Like there's nothing there, and I just...
Arcade Fire is cool. It's like philosophy. There's a lot of philosophy in Arcade Fire. I like.
Sure, if they put all that thought into it, but I find the majority of it's just something that sounds good that fits a part. And then even when I started a band, I was like, I wanted to like do something against that movement of like lyrics with meaning. And plus it was like a cop-out to not have to memorize complicated lyrics. So we would just sing the alphabet, or we would sing numbers where I was just counting by twos. Or
I hear a song. Can you read the ingredients of an icing sugar bag?
No, we did Robin's Donuts menu. I read the lyrics of, or read the menu of Robin's Donuts.
Are you sang?
Yelled.
You hip hop?
Huh?
You hip hop?
No, it was like metal.
Metal fan, hey?
When in my earlier 20s, late teens, it was like I was super elitist about it. But now it's like I'm not even interested in like 90% of the stuff that's coming out. So I'm more into...
I don't think we can even keep up with the world anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm just not interested. I'm like, that sucks. All of it sucks. Because it's all stuff I've heard like back in like late 90s.
It's funny, the hippie that was selling stuff today, he's totally a mellow guy too.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the first thing you think when you see him, is that he's a mellow guy.
Nah, it's all become a nerd thing now.
I think I grew up listening to a lot of indie rock and punk. I can't really stand punk music anymore. Like, I don't like. That's why I never got into a lot of metal because especially like some of the voices, I'm like it's too dark and it's too negative and too, right. Like listen to Eminem for a while too, but then I'm like, what the hell? Like you're so negative, I can't handle it. And like I like.
But there's
pop
like,
music.
but
It's pop music.
yeah, and some of it you don't. It's not necessarily a positive or a negative thing. It's just like an appreciation and a beauty in like the dark sort of sound of some of the stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you might like Beirut because of the waltz to it. Just a waltz, Beirut.
I listened to Beirut a couple times. I don't remember my reaction to it because I can't remember.
Lately, I like Fleet Foxes. I was listening to them. It's kind of like a modern, like alternative Simon and Garfunkel. It's very like the vocals are so much a part of their sound, like the harmonies and stuff. It's pretty true. Like 820.
I've been listening to a lot of like cyberwave lately. It's like this, I don't know. It's this brand new thing of, it's like 90s techno is what it sounds like, but it sounds like something from like a Japanese anime movie or a 90s video game, but it's played by a live band. Or a John Carpenter horror movie or something like that type of.
What I realized is I like my songs ending, so I try to listen to like EDM or electronic dance music, and I'm like, I feel like, how do I know when this is gonna end? It's gonna keep
All there is, like the guys that I listen to, they don't do it like a DJ style. It's like an actual song and structure and whatever.
Right. Is it possible to get the bill? Thank you.
But there's only like a couple, like two that I listen to. But that's kind of been the new thing that has interested me.
When I was getting some glass supplies called hipster funk.
No.
And I like hipster funk, I realized.
She'll help you with that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna eat the last one.
Yeah,
Can we get it to go?
Oh,
we're gonna be
Huh?
of course you can. It's not gonna be very good in half an hour. Tomorrow.
It'll be.
If you're full, you're full. I'll get you to go, no problem.
Thanks.
You guys headed on the ferry somewhere?
Take your card with me. I'm heading back to the West Shore.
Oh, yeah.
Mike's heading back to Vancouver.
Yeah.
I don't need tons. I don't need tons.
No, it's good.
All right, have a great day.
Thanks. It was an accident. No, it was good.
I've had some really cheap friends, and the way to like get them to be on cheap was just by starting to pay for things, and then they start to slowly realize that it's okay for you to pay sometimes, and for them to pay sometimes. It doesn't always have to be like
We
split down the middle.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to try to change consciousness without actually like talking about the thing you're trying to change.
Yeah. We always call it like insurance. It's a joke sort of thing. Like if who's paying next is who's holding the insurance. So if my friend Doug paid the last time, then he has insurance. Insurance that I will be his friend for the next few days, where I'm gonna hang out with him again because I owe him. So he can, if he doesn't want to be my friend, it's him that has to eat that bill, and he's not gonna get another meal in return. But it was a whole convoluted thing we made up because of like we would pay for each other's bills.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you. There's this movie with Robert, I think it's Robert De Niro, and he's like a gangster. Imagine that. And there's two things in it that my friend pointed out to me. One was that he loaned this like young guy his car, and it's a long car, and he said, make sure your door is locked. And he's like, open up her door and then walk around the back of the car. And if she doesn't reach over and open your door, it's like she's not a keeper. That was his test.
If she doesn't open your door,
Yeah, sees that it's locked and doesn't open the door for you because she's got enough time. Because he's like walks slowly behind the car, as like a character, right? As like a judge for character. And there's another point in the movie where they're like hanging out with this young guy and him, De Niro, and he's like, every time that guy sees me, he runs away, he owes me money. And he's like, well, how much? And he's like, $20. He's like, sounds like a pretty cheap way to get rid of that guy in your life. Right? Perspective.
yeah,
Perspective.
that makes sense.
I always said that my dog was obsessed with balls or whatever, and this person was like, I find her very focused and patient. Two characteristics that I could use more of underneath of my nose. But I chose not to see it. You know?
Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's the beer that's so filling.
Yeah, because you got a Guinness, it's like a meal.
I think you said that up
Ugh, that was really bad. I can't put it in a loud place like that again. It's I don't know. If someone actually sat through that and listened to it all, I applaud you, and email me or something. Get a hold of me somehow, and I will send you a cookie. I will not. I'll literally send you cookies if you listen to that whole thing. I may regret just saying that. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna record more of these things, even though I feel like sometimes it's really stupid and silly. Like when you come up with these weird ideas and you're in the middle of doing the thing that you thought of, and you just feel like, this is stupid, what am I doing this for? This is dumb. But you just kind of have to see it through. It's like that Nick Cave quote from 20,000 Days on Earth, I think the movie's called. And he says, life is short, life is short and you can't sit idle. To act on a bad idea. What the hell is the quote? Hold on, let me find this quote. What the juice? Oh. Okay, so here's the the quote. It's at the very end of my listing. Weird. So the quote is, we can't afford to be idle. Acting on a bad idea is better than to not act at all, because the worth of the idea never becomes apparent until you do it. So all of this that I'm doing could be just bullshit, but it doesn't matter, because the act of actually doing it, I don't know.